Hello, my name is Mark Black. In this video, we're going to look at how we take an existing IBM Spectrum LSF Suite cluster and extend it by adding in some Windows servers so that you can run Windows workloads. So this is part of a series of videos, so there's lots of interesting topics available to you. So let's talk about what is our installation scenario. So we have an existing cluster, right? So we have our GUI hosts and LSF masters and perhaps some LSF server hosts, and they're all running on x86 or power boxes, and of course they are Linux. What we want to do is add in some Windows boxes, and those specifically boxes to function as LSF servers, so boxes that will run actual workload. So what do we need? Well, we have to start with an existing Power or x86 LSF Suite cluster. And of course, we'll need the Windows installer. So the Windows machine will function as an LSF server, so it will run the actual work. It won't function as a management host. So we already have those on our Linux boxes. And we're going to use an MSI installer rather than the Ansible-based installation that you've seen in the past. So what do I need? Well, I need to grab this file here from my download site. So LSF 10.1 Windows x64 MSI. So this contains all of the LSF binaries for us. So how to install? Well, as I mentioned, we need to have an existing LSF master machine up and running. And we're going to extract some parameters from that for the installation. So we'll need to log in there and determine who the LSF servers are. And we can do that by running this command here. grep-h lsf_server_hosts opt IBM LSF suite lsfconf lsf.conf. And that will give us a list of all of the LSF server hosts. And we'll need that later on in the install process. Also on the LSF master machine, we need to edit the cluster file to add in all of the Windows machines. So that's this file here. It will be named according to your cluster name, right? So the default would be like opt IBM LSF suite lsfconf lsfcluster.mycluster. And in there, you're going to find the host section, and you're going to add the Windows box. So we'll give your host name here, specify the model as an exclamation mark, type as exclamation mark, server set that to 1, and any resources that are part of that. So the other thing in that file, you want to modify the cluster admin section. So we may have, you've already done install, so you probably have the LSF admin listed and whatever other administrators you defined. We need to add another one called administrator, and this is going to be on the account to use on our Windows box. So I'm going to use the administrator account. Okay, so you modify that file and save it. The other thing you want to do is modify the lsf.conf file, and we need to add in an additional parameter. So you edit this file here, so the lsf.conf, and you want to add in this line here. So lsf user domain equals /, right? So this is for our Windows box to, when we're running stuff on the Windows box, to pre-append, /, to the username. So in this case, it's going to be / administrator. All right. So what else? We then need to restart the daemons on the master host. So run lsadmin lim restart and badmin mbd restart. So now the LSF master has the Windows box added to its configuration, and it's trying to connect to that Windows box. So we need to install the binaries on the Windows box now. So we do that by copying the MSI file to the Windows machine or machines, and then we just run it. So we accept the license agreement, and then for the type we want to add a host, right? So we don't want to create a new cluster, we want to add a host, and we want to add it as an LSF server host. We can choose no shared directory, or well, you can choose whatever you like here, but understand what that means. And then you need to specify the LSF server host. So that was in the previous step. We ran a command to gather a list of all of the server hosts. We're going to provide that information here. We need to choose a custom configuration because I need to turn on one parameter. So you set the path. Now you want to enable ego, so check that checkbox when you see that screen. For all of the other things, you can just leave it as default. And the other thing to note is we're using administrator as the cluster administrator and a local system account. If you want to change that, understand that you would need to modify those steps that we did previously, where we specified administrator as the LSF admin account. Okay, and it will restart the services after installation. So once we've done all that, we can go back to our master host and run lsid, lshost, and bhost, and we'll see that the Windows box is added, and once all of the processes are started up, we'll see that the bhost state says that it's okay and ready to accept work. Okay, so I'm going to do a live demo, so you'll see how I prepare the LSF master. So we'll run through those steps that I outlined, and we'll then run the Windows installer, and I'll do some basic verification. So I have two windows open. This window here is on my Linux LSF master host, and this window here is on my Windows box. So the first thing I need to do is determine the LSF servers, and I can do that using this command here. So grep -h lsf_server_host opt IBM LSF suite lsfconf lsf.conf. So this is my list of LSF servers, and I know that these two boxes here are my LSF masters. So I'm going to actually just use those last two. I also need to make some configuration changes, so let's do that. So the first one we want to do is modify the cluster file. So this file here, yours might be named a little bit different, so it'll be lsf.cluster. and the name of your cluster. So let's edit that. So in here, I need to list the administrator. So on my Windows box, I don't have LSF admin or I don't have mblock. I have a different account. So I'm going to add that in here. So I'm going to use administrator for my LSF admin. The other thing that I need to do is add in or modify the host section to add this machine. So we do that down here. As you can see, I've got a few hosts in this cluster. And there we go. Oh, okay. I've already typed it in. So this is my Windows box, and the type is it's going to be determined, and the model is going to be determined. And we also want to designate this as a server host, so we set this to 1, and we could put in some resource groups if we had any. Okay, so this is my Windows host added into the host section, so that's ready to go. And the other thing I need to modify is the lsf.config file. So there's a parameter that I need to add in, so just add at the very end. I'm going to add in this parameter here called lsf_user_domain. So this is tells LSF how to deal with Windows users. So we want to pre-append the username with the /, right? Okay, so that's that. Now, if you were using like a different administrator, LSF admin account, provide like a different name. So when we restart our daemons, ls admin lim restart and b admin mbd restart. Okay, so the daemons restarted. So ls hosts. We can see, okay, we've see our Windows box, and right now we don't know what it is. Okay, cool. Let me get that list of hosts again. Okay, so I'm going to use this. So we're finished with the LSF master host for now, and now let we go to the Windows box and run the Windows installation. So I've downloaded the MSI file already, so it's sitting here, and we just want to run that. So next, and I want to accept the license agreement. Next. It's telling me, hey, it's going to change the firewall rules. Okay, let's do that. And we don't want this to be like a new cluster. We're going to join an existing cluster. So I'm going to say add a host, and I'll say an LSF server host. And next. Okay, it's just giving us a warning. You might want to take a look at that. And I'm going to say no shared directory because hey, I don't have one. Now here's where I needed the LSF server host that I gathered from this command. MA1, A, and MA1, conf 03B. And next. So I need to choose a custom configuration because there's one parameter I need to set. So I'll leave the default install directory. Now I want to enable Ego, so that's one difference. Everything else I can take as default. So definitely have to use the default port. And here we go. Here's the user, right? So I'm using administrator, and you notice there's a // so that's where the / came from in the configuration. And next, and I'm using a local system account. If you are using something else, well, you'll need to change your LSF configuration as well. And we want to start the services, and let's install. Okay, so that will take a moment or two to complete the installation. Okay, so it's finished. If I wanted to, I could go and check out the services. So you'll see some services that it's created. So it'll be the the IBM LIM service, the SBD service, and the RES service. But hey, I just want to see things work. So let's go over here and try our LS hosts. Okay, still unknown. Okay, we'll give it a little bit more time. Hey, there we go. So it's reporting it as an NT box, so we just call everything Windows NT, right? Just for historical reasons. Okay, and the other thing, let's check bhosts. Oops. And there's our box. Right now the state is closed. Hey, but we see, hey, it's got 2 CPUs, so 2 slots we can use. Hey, cool, it's ready to go. So that's it. Our Windows box has been added into our Linux cluster, and it's ready now to accept work. Okay, so what have you seen? So you've seen how we update the configuration on the LSF master host to allow it to use Windows boxes as servers. We've ran the installation on the Windows box, and you've seen how to do that, and we've done some basic verification. So in the next video, we're going to look at how we install from bare metal using IBM Spectrum Cluster Foundation. And for more information, here's a link here that you can follow. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that.